Here's another question I received. The individual wanted to know if it would be a good idea to use copper. They really liked the nice shiny finish on copper. Now, here's the bad news. This is what it looks like if it's not maintained. And I looked around and I couldn't find a better picture than this one right here. You can actually see where the metal is a certain color and it's actually starting to oxidize here and change colors. And I would imagine these are the copper panels above that have already changed colors. So you can see here there's like a water stain coming down, or at least it appears to be a water stain, maybe even calcium deposits right here. Could you finish this, buff it, clean it? Do they have stuff to do all that? Yes, they do. The point I would like to make with copper and with brass is that it will need to be maintained most of the time. And when I say most of the time, I want to say all the time, but I could get into an argument there because you could actually have something that never oxidized, it was never exposed to the elements, and it might not need to be maintained. So with that said, this is what it will look like. This is a copper roof, or at least appears to be a copper roof. This is what happens to it. You're going to get stains. Yeah, it's going to turn green. It might not turn a green that you like. It might be, it might have lighter colors, darker colors, depending upon how it has worn over the years. I'm not a big fan of copper because of its price and the maintenance. If you're looking for, you really want a particular look on a home and you're going to do something, you're going to put it on ground level, Let's go back to the other picture. Something like this could probably be maintained a little easier than something up here or something over here. You're going to need a ladder for this. Obviously, if it was a 4-story building, this is a totally different going to be a totally different maintenance problem. Something that would be easily accessible, you can feel free to put the copper there and maintain it. Something a little higher up on a roof, a steep pitched roof, something like that's going to be totally different. So that would be one of the first things I would consider before using this. And architects often they're looking for a particular design. They know it's going to turn this color, and this is what they're looking for. That's fine. Limited maintenance or no maintenance is going to produce a certain type of color as the copper or the brass weathers or is exposed to the elements. Back to here, okay, same thing. We have a color on a roof that, and again, I'm assuming this is copper, could be something else, but this is what happens to copper. That's why I'm actually using it as this picture. Brass, this is a brass handrail, and I'm sure it's maintained. And when I say it's brass, again, I'm no metal expert. This could be a different type of metal that has been treated a certain way to look like brass, but brass does wear. For handrails, the nice thing about handrails is that they get polished regularly as people run their hands down them as they are using them. So, and of course, in this problem, you're actually going to develop a pattern where it'll be clean for a certain area, and then of course it won't be clean after that because eventually you are going to take your hand off of the handrail. And you can see here that this is actually the end of the handrail and it's still cleaned, which tells me that this is actually a maintained handrail. It's actually cleaned or polished regularly or sealed. This, on the other hand, and again, I'm pretty sure this is brass. They sell a lot of brass kick plates for doors. This is what it's going to look like after a while. You can see that the bottom screws have rusted, the upper ones haven't. Sometimes it's not a good idea to use with brass or copper certain metals. Stainless steel, I think, is okay, but if you are going to install a brass or copper plate, it wouldn't be a bad idea to use brass screws or brass nails with that also. or another nail that's not going to be corrosive to the metal. This right here looks like a painted metal. You can actually get metal that's pre-treated. Is it going to have problems like this? Yes, you can't do much about that. In the areas, I mean, I don't want to say that. You can actually paint it, but you'd have to find the right, the exact color to paint it, I would imagine, if you wanted it to blend in. This stuff does chip. You know, if you're putting a screw in it, it's not uncommon. If I put a screw right here, over time it's going to start to rust, or you're going to start to notice that the screw is there because you're now puncturing through this untreated area. Any scratches, you know, if you're installing this and you get a scratch in it, you are going to scratch the finish off. Now that is going to be exposed to metal. And remember, this is not copper or brass. This is some type of a metal that has been painted at a factory before you install it. This right here, I'm pretty sure this is not copper. Looks like it was painted, and this is another way that you can get something that would look like copper. If you were looking for some type of an effect or a certain type of color, let's just say you wanted the color of copper, but you didn't want to maintain it, then maybe you could find something to paint it with or seal it with somehow. Now, when I'm talking about sealers, this isn't about paint, but you know, some of you are probably thinking, hey, what if I use a sealer instead of paint? Or what if I use a sealer for the copper brass? Well, this is something you're going to need to regularly apply. And when I say regularly apply, I really don't know. I don't want to get into every 6 months or a year. But eventually, the metal will need to be cleaned and then sealed again. So this is a material that will require maintenance. So the best advice I could give you is, if you're looking for the green look with copper, go ahead and use it, let it oxidize, and it won't need to be maintained as often or at all. And if you're looking for the nice shiny copper or brass look, make sure that it's installed in a building on the exterior where you can actually access it easily with a small ladder or simply off the ground. Anything above that could be a nightmare, and you could be looking for a safety hazard, creating a safety hazard also, and that is not a good thing. So anyway, I hope that helps. Hope it answers your question. If it does, then great. If it doesn't, don't forget you can leave any questions and comments in the comment area on the YouTube channel, and I will do the best I can to answer them in a timely manner.